Right, welcome everybody. What's this weird music that's playing? Right, hopefully that weird music stopped. Welcome to bit of an impromptu on this after the debacle that we've just witnessed at Bloomfield Road. Watford 2, Blackpool 0. Absolutely diabolical performance. I think there's no other words for it. Diabolical. So we're going to hopefully get the views of some people who've been there. I know there's quite a few in the space. This is also going on YouTube and Twitter, so I'm looking for a lot of fan interaction and views on this. So there's the option to join our phone-in group, which I'll just stick on. Give you all a link if anyone wants to join and have you say there. Andy Grice did this not so long ago. I'll just put this in a banner across the bottom of the stream. Banner. Right, so if you're listening to this on the Twitter space, put your hand up, and just let us know you want to speak, and I'll bring you in on there. Also, we've got a few callers lined up on the on our WhatsApp group as well. Right, nearly ready. Right, Luke is on the call. Let's bring Luke in. Right, we're going to bring Ben in first. Right, hi Ben. Hi Ben. Thanks for joining the call. Yeah. So obviously,
no problem.
we've all watched the debacle that we've witnessed at Watford today. First things, your thoughts on the team lineups, which were Maxwell, Connolly, Ekpiteta, Thornley, Husband, Carey, Patino, Bowler, Rodgers, and Hamilton and Medine. So, your thoughts on that initially?
Yeah. I mean, we're reasonably pleased with the lineup to a point. Obviously, we've got Lyons available, but we don't know how match fit in inverted commas he is to play. We would have all liked to have seen him, I think, based on his Forest performance. The other bone of contentions, obviously, with a lot of supporters, is the Medine inclusion up front instead of Yates. I think we all think we're all on pretty much the same, singing from the same hymn sheet, that if you've got a player that's playing in the pocket like Pervader, even though he's not available today, you've got Rodgers in there. You can kind of, Yates can kind of feed off that in the channels, and I think a lot of people are getting. I mean, I'm not one of these Medine haters. I think he does a reasonable job, but I think it's time that we stick Jerry in the middle, and he's a goal scorer at the end of the day. And I'm just worried that, is it because he's going elsewhere? I know Tim's spoke about it a few times, and I think I'm getting slightly worried that he might be off.
It doesn't make sense.
Sorry,
it just does not make sense not playing Jerry Yates based on his performance against Forest, does it?
No, I mean, you can imagine him sort of getting a bit fed up as well. Like we say, the bigger picture is he going? But we're guessing really. But the main, I mean, I'm just echoing what a lot of people are probably saying on the various social media platforms. From what I've read, everyone's saying the same thing. His in-game tactics are just, I've seen enough. I was willing to give him. I didn't want him to begin with. We ended up with him. I was willing to give him a chance. I'm not into booing and all this because we're in it together. That's my attitude. But I think we've seen his in-game tactics are bizarre to me. When he first took over, we were seeing him making changes at half-time, being proactive. We didn't have the players then. But today, we saw it the other week. You're getting overrun. Today, we weren't necessarily getting overrun, but it was clear that it was like we were settling for 0-0 against a patched-up Watford outfit who's bringing on academy players. And, I mean, most of the time, you're happy with a point away from home, but we need to start winning games. And it just seems so negative to me. I mean, I was just waiting for the late Watford goal. It was similar to the West Brom type performance where you're going through the motions and you're waiting for the goal. And for him not to make a change until, I mean, it's just ludicrous. You can see the goal and then Jerry Yates comes on the pitch. I just think his tactics are all wrong within the game. I mean, there's always an argument. Obviously, everyone's got their opinion on who should be playing. I'm not particularly bothered about the German fellow not playing today because, he's only just unzipped his bag, essentially. So, he might not be ready. So I'm not too bothered about that. But having said that, the middle of midfield, Patino and Carey, two young lads, they look lightweight. We're getting run through. And he doesn't want to bring Kenny into the fold at all. Everyone's got their opinion on Kenny, but he can do a job to a point where he can, get his foot in. And we just look so lightweight. Patino is a young lad. I don't want to slag him off too much, but for me, his recent performances have been lacking. He slows the game down a bit at times. Some of his tackles today, he was slowing the challenges. And mixed with that, the bad luck that we appear to be getting with little injuries and things like that, the writing's on the wall for me unless, we make some kind of change.
So do you think Appleton's got to go, Ben? I know myself, I was on the fence before.
Yeah,
today,
I mean,
but today the fact that he didn't make any of those changes, it was criminal.
Yeah.
55 minutes in, the game needed changing, didn't it?
Yeah, for me, that I'm not into all this changing it and for changing its sake, but today was the final straw for me. I think we're at the point now we've got to gamble because I can only see it going one way at the moment. Quite bowler as well. It's all great. It's great that he's back, but it's clear from today's performance it's going to take him 3 or 4 games to get up to speed. Rodgers looked bright, but again faded. Is that a fitness issue as well? It just seems like, we're not. I can see us winning a few games, but I just can't see us doing it under this fella. So,
no. So
can't.
What's your recommendation to the board then?
I've got no suggestions about who we'd possibly bring in, but I think we just need to press the button on it. And I mean, the really annoying thing from the board was that when he was appointed, everyone had their opinion, and we were basically told to shut up. We were giving him a contract that he was never going to see out that contract.
It was 4 years as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there was no chance of that. I stuck up for him a little bit at the start because he was given a bad deck of cards, essentially. Transfer window was pathetic at the start of the season. And like everyone, we were positive, weren't we, going to today's game? We were all looking forward to seeing, it was like the new start, wasn't it? Like we've said on the pod. We found out about Pervader having his whatever's wrong with him. Don't think it's anything serious, and it just sort of went downhill from there. Really.
Do you think that's had a big influence on the performance then today? The whole it was an instant downer, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a blow. I mean, I was one of the lucky ones. I didn't actually go to Watford, so I can imagine what the reaction is when you look at the team sheet and you see that he's not involved. You're always going to miss a player like Pervader. But I mean, what was alarming to me was the build-up play from the back. I mean, there was hardly any balls played into the middle of midfield. So whether that's Carey or Coutinho not wanting the ball, not showing, we were just going front to back relentlessly. Hamilton was feeding off. We all know CJ's, we know his limits, but he did relatively okay with what he had. Medine was pretty much non-existent. He struggled today. And like I said, Bowler just looks... I don't think he looks match fit or physically fit. But it's this front to back thing. We've seen too many performances like this in the last few months. Not building through midfield. And to me, the most upsetting thing about it is that it's like we're happy with 0-0. We've got to win games. Yeah, I don't mind losing football games, but let's have a go. And today, we just looked like we were just he was happy, obviously, with a point because if he would have changed it otherwise. Yeah. That's the only thing I can think. And again, the other manager's throwing on players left, right, and centre, trying to change their fortunes, and there's no one even unzipping a tracksuit on our bench.
Well, he made the change after their goal. It was too little, too late, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then he throws Shane on with 2 minutes to go. It's like, don't insult the player by bringing him on at that point. The game's gone. It just seems like he doesn't like making changes at certain points. His in-game tactics are just lacking from what I can see, and I think a lot of people have said the same thing. A lot of people I've spoke to have exactly the same opinion. But I don't think the board are going to push the button at all.
What about everyone else in the stadium? Do you think he's lost? Do you think he's lost the entire fan base now? Because I think there was a few moderates out there, myself included. But I'm done with him now.
Yeah, I mean, I put myself in the moderate camp before today. Sunderland, that was kind of the same with regards to the changes where he didn't push the button. And yeah, we got a point, but we were battered. But moving on to next game, it's kind of like a must win. It's becoming and it might get a bit toxic.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think everyone's so disappointed because everyone felt so positive going into this little patch of games that we've got after the players that we've brought in. But today's performance just left me feeling a bit flat about the whole thing, to be honest. And no doubt you'll have the same few callers saying the same things tonight. So it's just the same things everyone's saying. Nothing new.
So do you think Appleton? Do you think the board should act this evening?
Sorry, say that again, John.
Do you think the board should act this evening?
I'd like them to, but I don't think they will. From what I've seen from the board, I mean, fair play to Sadler, whatever. They brought the players in, albeit too late, to try and help. But also, I don't think they'll. It's like admitting that they were wrong, and I don't think they've got that in them, especially Mansford.
It's kind of like an admission of failure, almost.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. But like I say, feelings are running high at the moment. So hopefully, when the dust settles, we can. Next weekend is a must, and Huddersfield have been coming to a little bit of form themselves. So
they always seem to give us the run around Huddersfield, don't they, as well?
Yeah. I mean, the worry is the players we brought in, especially Rodgers and Bowler, obviously, the quality's there, but how up to speed are they? How long is it going to take for these players to get up? So it's going to take 3 or 4 games, I think, but we haven't got 3 or 4 games to play with. To be honest, we could be 6 or 7 points adrift by then.
Yeah, I think they need to act. I think the board need to act tonight.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sort of. I don't understand the Lions thing one bit. He comes over. He's been training with the team for weeks on end, so we've been told. And then in the media, Appleton's saying that he's not. It'll take him a while to get up to speed. Plays really well against Forest. Yeah, and then today, not involved.
Yeah.
So what's the point? What's the point in bringing a player in?
It's the same with the German. Specialist player for two specialist players for a specialist position. You've got a specialist right back. You're playing Callum Conley out of position at right back.
Yeah, I mean, again, people saying the same thing. I'd like to see Connolly snapping in the middle of midfield. To be honest, he does it. I mean, to be fair to Connolly, I'm never going to slag him off because he does a job. He does what he can. But we've been told he's a right back, but he's not. To me, he's not. He's not a right back. Lyons was signed, so I don't know why he's not playing.
Bizarre.
Don't understand it.
Yeah. Right.
So,
well, thanks for that, Ben. Anyway,
that's my rant over.
Yeah, I think it's good therapy, isn't it? So, cheers for that, mate.
Thanks for having us on. Cheers, John.
No worries. I'll try and get another caller and get a few more people's views on. So we're just going to stick to. Thanks for Seaside of Brummie, $17.99 super sticker. I don't actually know what that is, but I guess that's cash of some sort. So I don't know. Brilliant. Yeah, whatever that is. Right, let's just go through a few of the comments before I bring the next caller in. Pete Dick's positivity has been lost. Dennis is trying to put a spin on it, saying we got a beat away from a team that was 3rd or 4th. Yarn Beast went 1 in 10, which is 21% of championship games. That says it all for me. Well, yeah. Gaz Wiseman, Joey should have that's performance. Yeah, Joey should have absolutely started. Right, so there's going to be ever so slight lull in proceedings while I just go on to nip onto WhatsApp. Trying to bring a few people in. Let's give Brad a ring. First ever attempt at one of these things. There's Luca. There he is. I'm just going to give Luca a bell.
Hello.
All right, Luca, you right, mate?
Hi, John. How are you, mate? You okay?
Too bad. Live quotes live
Hello.
on YouTube. Yeah, how you doing? You hear me?
Yeah, all right, mate.
Right.
Yeah, good. Thanks. Just stopped off at the services on the way back from Watford now.
So we went there with such high
it's weird. You know,
expectations.
we were saying the lads that just now that on the way down, real feel good factor on the way down. You know, we're all looking forward to it, all positive, and then it's just a bit disappointing today. I just thought we treated with a bit too much respect and just we sat back. You know, we've got I'm pretty confident in the team and the team that we've got, and I felt like we should have maybe just attacked a bit more and not showed them any, respect and, played the ball in behind them. So when we done that, we looked, at a couple of, we didn't massively look like scoring today, but when the ball was getting played in behind them through the channels is when, CJ, when he ran in the back, he was causing a bit of havoc at times, running in behind and just using the pace and using the channels, which I just don't think, we did.
What was your thoughts? What was your thoughts on the lineup when you saw that? Obviously, Chris Maxwell in there. It's a very divisive.
Do you know what, Maxi? Do you know what? I'm gonna probably people might have a go at this or a pop at this, but you know what, Maxi today. I think people are forgetting that he made 2 or 3 massive saves today, like massive saves. If the result's gone a different way, people will be talking about. So I felt a bit sorry for him when that, when he gives that pen away. And I do think he gets a lot of stick in the lineup now. I think the depth in the squad's a lot, getting a lot better. We could have 2 or 3 different lineups. I don't know. I like the idea of. I thought, the new German lad that was signed looks quite physical or something like that. We need someone like that in the middle of the park just to break it up. Like a CD, play like a CDM. Even Cal Connolly, I think he can do a job there as a CDM just to break the game down and not give them, as much possession and get a bit niggly. But I think, next game's massive, isn't it? Now Huddersfield's, massive. And it's just is frustrating, isn't it? But all we can do is just back, we've got to back the team. We've just got to try and get behind them. But I understand it's frustrating at the same time, isn't it? It's tough.
Do you not think it's a bit strange that we've signed a specialist player for that role you've just mentioned in Tom Tribal, and then we're putting Patino and Carey, who aren't really suited for that role particularly?
I think they're both brilliant, football players, and they've got, they've definitely got the ability. I think they're both also very young, aren't they? We need maybe at times, the roles that we should utilise them at times, but there's sometimes where you need that older head, that bit of physicality in the middle, just to maybe break the game down a bit and just, not let their possession flow as much. I know that Hamza Chowdhury sort of ran the show at times for them. He sort of sat back and he was playing the ball through the channels, and that's what was causing us issues. And I felt like that's what we should have been maybe doing to them, because we have got the pace down the wings. I thought Morgan Rogers was brilliant today. He looked great. So I don't know what we do.
So what was the atmosphere like in the away end then?
Well, we took low what following we had today. Hats off to everyone. Was it 1,500 in the end, something like that went down today.
Yeah.
I think the atmosphere was start of the game, throughout the game until we conceded. Really, the atmosphere was good. I mean, the home support, Jesus, it was like you could hear a pin drop if it wasn't for us in there. It was until they scored, which pissed me off. They suddenly started backing. But no, we've got that thing. We've got the fan base. The fan base get behind the boys. It's we're like an extra hand, which just a little bit frustrating at times, isn't it?
So on about 55 minutes in the game, to me watching on TV, it was fairly obvious that we needed to change the plan of play, change the game. We needed a change in formation and personnel, because it didn't look like from where I was watching that he wanted to win that game. And for me, for our position that we're in,
I think that goes back to what I said as well, is just showing a little bit too much respect.
I
don't
know.
Anyway, even at 55 minutes in, it looked like like we maybe should have made a change, but it didn't look like fourth. I think were they fourth at the start of the game, Watford, something like that. I didn't think it looked like a fourth and a bottom fixture. We were, bearing in mind, I know they've got a lot of injuries and stuff today, but I didn't think we were. It looked like we're a relegation team and they're pushing for playoffs. But that's where again we're showing them too much respect. Is that the game was there for the taking, and we've got now we're at a point now where we've got nothing to lose. Just go out and attack. And I think we've always been that football club, haven't we? Like we were under Holloway. We were that attacking team that if we went out and attacked and got drilled 6-0, we weren't that bothered as long as we give it a go.
Luca, I think we've got the players. I think we've got. I think we're nearly there with the squad. But,
I think we are. Yeah, you've got to look at the few injuries that we've got still. They'll play with Matt Keshi, Lewis Farini. There's loads that still, do that. We've definitely got the squad that's there, but it's just making sure that we utilise them.
How do we do that though?
That's the question, isn't it? That is the big question. Did he stand by the gaffer or not? And
what do you think? What do you think, Luca? What's your view? I was like I said to Ben just before. I was teetering on out before today, but today showed me he hasn't got the tactical nous to change games, and that's it's kind of been a running pattern throughout his tenure.
I think we need results, don't we? And whatever we've got to do, like say, with 1,000,000%, we've got the squad. The squad is there, and it's just utilised. And whoever I don't. To give him opinions in it.
So, what's your opinion?
What do we do? What's my opinion? I'm a little bit like.
You're on the fence, Luca.
I'm like a little bit. No, I'm a little bit like it's like I want to back him and I want to get behind him because I'm not one of them that'll go and just shout and moan like I want to back him. But it is maybe getting to the point now where you think, right, something's maybe got to change or. But the thing is that where do you go? Do you know what I mean? If you do it, that's my thing. Is that if you do, where do you go and who do you sort of get in?
Okay, so I'm on the YouTube comments now, and pretty much everyone is thinking, apart from MB there, they're all saying Stephen Dobby, give us enough time to sort it out and unite the fans. I think uniting the fans is a big thing, isn't it? So,
I think so as well, because you know what, there's been a couple of games like that last Sheffield United game was a bit of animosity between fans, and I did for the first time. I was getting a bit pissed off where fans were moaning and slagging players off and just really getting everyone's getting on each other's backs a bit, and it's not nice. You need to be united. Dobby, he's doing a good job. He's done a good job in the and like I say, a fan name. Fans know him, likable person, good guy. I don't know.
What was the atmosphere like in the away end after they went 1-0 up and then 2-0 up?
1-0 up, it wasn't too bad when it went 2-0. That was when it started to get through. You start hearing the shouts, then the get him out and all that. But before that, you didn't hear any of it. But you also didn't hear a single Apple Tangerine Army chant either.
There was just a very faint chant of that last home game, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Was it kind of vociferous at the end of the game against him, or say
that again?
Was it kind of a vociferous atmosphere against Appleton at the end of the game? What was it like when the full-time whistle went?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit. Like again, it was the shout. It was just the shouts again. Get him out. You got some people that stay behind and clap. Some people, give it, get him out.
Was there any
So
arguing?
more,
Was there any arguing, like people sticking up for him?
I don't believe there was. No, there wasn't arguing with fans. I didn't see any arguing with fans saying let him stay. I think people. I think that was the sort of the turning point for me is that and maybe sort of shows my thing is where previous games you'd be like give it now, like come on back in, whereas people are sort of now realising we've not got people are entitled to their opinion and on it now as they can understand people's views on it a little bit more to reason him to want him to go, but yeah. But I just think I don't know. I think like we've got to look at it's been a good transfer window so far. Bought some talent in, and the squad is there.
I think that's the key thing. That
the
squad is there, but the manager isn't.
Yeah,
the manager's
100%. Yeah, I think and I think like that as well. Is that like Sadler as well? Like he's 100% like there as well. It pisses me off a bit when he's getting called out. People are having sort of a dig at him and what he's done for the team. I do think he obviously massively cares about the club, and like this transfer window, I think that like getting Bowler back was pivotal.
What was Bowler like today then? Didn't do a lot on the game out.
You know what? Straight away they doubled up on him first half. They were just doubling up on him straight away, so we didn't really get much chance to do anything first half. But then when he was on the ball second half, he looked like he was skipped past Cathcart a few times. Cathcart was class for them today as well.
He almost had him in his pocket.
How old is he now? Cathcart must be 30. Is he 35? 30?
Was he 21 when he joined? I think he was 21 when he joined us, so it's 12 years ago. Yeah, so
yeah. He was good today. He got a good reception from Blackpool fans as well, which was nice.
Oh, right, okay.
He got which was good. So
it was obviously a blow having Pervader injured, wasn't it? I think that.
Yeah, it's a shame. I think he presume he would have started the game. He was caused chaos against Forest and presume and I think as well he'd have been in that midfield, wouldn't he? That midfield might not have been as scarce. I don't know, what was he injured or what?
Injured in training the day before, apparently.
Injured in training day before. Like I think he was there. He was obviously didn't take part in the warm up or anything. So yeah, no, I think that would have been a bit of a difference as well today. But like you say, we've still got the depth of the squad and the players and the power there. Another player that gets stick as well, like Medine. Medine gets stick. I thought he was done well today as well. Holding the ball up, flicking it on and stuff. And I do think he's one of them players that gets loads of stick. But when he's not there, you do notice he's not there because we're not holding the ball up and getting the flick-ons over the tops and in behind. That's what we need to get in behind these teams because we've got the pace either side of him to do it.
And obviously, Jerry Yates has got to be pissed off to be on the bench after his performance against Forest. Personally, if I was Jerry, I would be absolutely fuming that I was benched for that game. Top scorer as well.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah. I think that shows, though, doesn't it, that when you've got players like that on the bench, that we have got that squad depth.
It made a massive difference when he came on, Luca, as well, didn't it?
He did. Yeah. And he had a half chance there. I think a header. It's like it's a half chance, but he got it on target. But though he does, he did look like a little bit of a threat at times. But I just think it is just maybe just needs to make the subs like a little bit early. And I thought that at certain times of this season. I think another one was it at Wigan when we didn't make a sub, and where else at West Brom didn't make a sub. There's a couple of the away games that I can think of that we were at, and some home games where we've had games where we've gone 90 minutes and not made. Like Sheffield United, we've done it as well. Actually, didn't we? When we were 3-3, didn't make a down to 10 men, and still we didn't make a single sub. Like, some of them lads must be knackered.
I mean, it's so obvious to everybody watching those games that you've just mentioned.
Yeah.
West Brom, I was there. It was awful.
Yeah.
That needed changing. It makes you think, why do you think it's belligerence from Appleton that he's not doing it? Or he just hasn't got the tactical nous to see it? I mean, surely he can see it.
I think he strikes me as like he's obviously like quite a big character, and maybe whether there's a bit of quite a macho guy, whether he thinks that it's whether he wants to. Well, we like what a change. Where he's going, well, actually, I make the calls here, type thing. Whether it's a bit of that, do you know what I mean? That.
That's what I think. Because
possibly not. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm an ice cream man. I'm not a football manager. What do I know? Do you know what I mean? I don't know anything.
But you can see it, Luca. You can see it. I'm not a professional manager. I can see it. All the people I watch these games with, they can all see it. Why can't he see it? He must be able to see it. But there's another reason, and I think that was possibly what you've said. That he's
maybe
he wants to be the main man, and I'm not giving in to calls from the crowd.
Yeah,
I'll do it my way.
Which is, but he's paid to do that job, and he's the manager, he's the expert. Do you know what I mean? It's football. It's just a game of opinions in it. Football. Do you know what I mean? We can sit here all the time, and he'd have an argument to what people said and that. But I just think I don't know. I just think we've just got back to the boys. Like, it was great to see. Like, I've hit 40 times this year. I've been to missed a couple of away games this year, and the numbers have dwindled from last season. Going away from home, and obviously there's you got to take into account the living crisis at the minute. Energy bills and all that. People maybe can't afford to go away and tighten the pockets. But today was like the first time I thought, like we've got like the away following back again. Like it's proper.
They served up that load of shit. We had a load of fans there, and they served up that load of shite today.
I know, but we've still said this in the way. Done that 8 hours round trip, and I'll still go to Southampton, not next week after, and do it all again.
I don't know if you heard Tim on the preview show.
You know what I mean? So
Tim said he absolutely nailed this. He said, "I was very confident that we were going to get a result today." And Watford podcast, they were very downbeat, saying, "Yeah, we've got loads of injuries, we're playing terribly." And whenever we go to these away games, confident and full of vigour, and think we're going to win a game, we always lose. And Tim said, "We'll probably lose 3-0." And he's almost right.
I can't wait. I'm going to drive to Southampton and thinking, right, we're getting beat 6-0 today. Then so
reverse psychology.
So exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Just got to keep backing the boys. That's all we can do, and trust the process, whatever process that is.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for your call, Luca. It's great. Safe journey back. Cheers, mate.
All right, cheers, mate. All the best. See you later.
Bye. Trust the process. Where have we heard all that before? Just get that off the banner. Right, who have we got next? It's all a bit tin pot, this. It's not really 606-esque. Right, Scott.
Hello.
Hi, Scott. You all right?
Yeah, not too bad, that.
You at the game today?
No, I wasn't. No, I watched it. I just basically wanted to probably echo what a few of the callers have said. I think obviously it's time for him to go. He's just after 60 minutes, you can see in every game really now what's going to happen. There was changes there that should have been made to bring on this defensive midfielder or a central midfielder just to slow it down, because you could see what was happening there. Made the 4 changes, freshened it up, and obviously I don't think we're fit enough, to be fair. I think we're at 60 minutes
65 minutes, we look very leggy recently, and that's when we're conceding goals.
I think Rodgers and Bowler looked a bit leggy, didn't they, particularly at that time? But
yeah,
you kind of understand that, but not the rest of the team.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And like I say, I mean, obviously the lad who we brought in to be this defensive midfielder, it's just a bit of a broken record where they're not fit, and we're not at a stage now where we need these players to be fit. We're coming in, because we're obviously where we are. It's not looking very good. Well, and before you know it, we'll be.
Well, yeah, absolutely. We need players coming into, like you've said, to hit the ground running. But this Thomas Tribal apparently has played 26 games, as I've been reading. So
yeah,
you'd like to think they've done their due diligence when they're signing these
definitely.
players.
Yeah, and like I say, we've got Stewart and Bridcut, obviously, who were signed for their obviously injury prone through the whole career. So it's something that it needs to be sorted out. And like I say, with Lyons, your previous caller, surely he's got to be playing. He's our only fit right back, so he has to play for me. Whether he's up to speed, but obviously last week he played well.
He played
in the Irish
Forest, didn't he? He was fine.
Well, that's what, and when he come on, he's up and down. He's played in the Irish League. It's not as if he's not played either. He's had plenty of game time. So just for me, he's just Apple and he just don't know. You don't see any passion on him on the sideline, which some managers are like that, some are. But you'd expect to see something a bit. I think even the players are even looking at him, and he's just stood there and he's not really interested. It looks like it's just like it's the same for him anyway. It's the same all week in, week out. This is what we do. I was at the Wigan game, and all right, we went down to 10 men, but that game was there for the taking because they were very poor. But it was, again, changes that should have been made that weren't made, and we end up losing that game.
Yeah, I was at that game, and literally everyone around me was saying, why has he not made a change? And I think Luke said in the previous call, didn't he? He said exactly what you've said. I'll just read a tweet out for you that I retweeted. It was quite an interesting point related to what you've just said from Keith Williams. He said, when your manager continually conveys a negative message about perceived inability of Blackpool FC to compete in this league, it permeates throughout the club and eventually ends up in a self-fulfilling prophecy. Michael Appleton truly does not believe in BFC, and we need someone who does. That kind of relates to what you said. You see him just... Obviously, everyone has their own style, don't they? But you want to see that from your manager. If you're a player, you don't want to see someone stood there for 90 minutes with your hands in their pockets. It can't be motivating.
And unfortunately, with his history of, obviously, the Preston thing, he's on a bit of a hiding to nothing for me. I have quite a few Preston mates, which is not very handy. But even they say, he's even there on the wind-up, and you just think he's not doing himself any favours, really. He's just, even, like I say, the players must see it, and they're looking at him to go, right, what do you want us to do? Because they look a bit clueless. It was just hoofball today. It was just like, get the ball, hoof it.
That's why, Scott, I've put that in my notes for our reaction pod. I make these 7 points in the game. One of my points was lightweight midfield, completely bypassed, never played through the midfield, and we just launched diagonals towards Bowler and CJ throughout the match. Yeah, and
I mean, I know Watford, I think they've gone up to third now, but there's not a lot in this league at all. I'm a season to go thing. I've seen them all, but there is not a lot in the league. And like what you said previously, I think there is a good squad there now, but I just think you've got to look at the bigger picture of the manager as to go. I don't even think the players are believing in him, which is obviously a massive thing.
Mm. So,
but like I say, with the buzz that everyone was getting with the
we were all buzzing
transfers, and and then the team sheet comes out, and you're thinking, why has he done that? Why has he done that? Why didn't he do this? And I think by looking on social media, fans and that, they're all expressing the same opinion. It's not really Leeds should be playing. Everyone's sort of in the same boat as to say, yeah, he should be right back. Connolly, if you want to bring him in, central midfield, just things that, to be honest with you, I think Coutinho, I think he is looking a bit leggy at the minute, and he could probably do with a game off, but we haven't really got anyone, because I think he should be playing more forward because he's got that ability to break things down, but he's just looking a bit lost at the minute, which is obviously not his problem. He's a young lad, isn't he?
It's not Kerry's fault. That's not his position.
No.
He's been hung out to dry, really, by Appleton in the position that he's played him in.
Yeah. But no, yeah. But for me, I think there's quite a few. I mean, I wouldn't like to say who would be the next manager, but I think there's quite a few people out there, and it's going to have to be. It needs to be sorted because, like I say, the fans are not happy. You see that on social media. Everyone. I've not seen one person say, "No, we need to keep him in." You know, we'll get round it. We'll get through the bad patch. Blah blah blah. You know, the club's sort of gone from where it was when Sadler was in. The crowd's fantastic to, like I say, it's getting a bit toxic in games and whatever now. And I think that's just out of one man. I think you say Dobby comes in or whoever, just that will bring the buzz back. And let's say next week's an absolute massive game. It's 3 points or nothing for me.
Well, it's a 6-pointer, isn't it? If they don't pull the trigger before that game, and we don't, or particularly if we lose to Huddersfield, he has to be shown the door. He has to be. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, we were saying on the way home from Wigan, so he's got the break now. If they were going to sack him, it should have been after that game for me. Then whoever's coming has at least got a chance to, obviously, the World Cup break. But you just think if he's not sacked him before, is he going to? Well,
yeah. It's
because we're not getting any better. We're not proving, we're not showing as to, we're actually getting better. Something's working. We're just unlucky. It's just not very good, is it?
For me, for the directors, I think it's kind of, if they do sack Appleton, it's an admission of failure on their part, particularly after what they were saying, giving us a lecture when Michael Appleton was appointed, almost. So I think with them, I think you're right. They should have pulled the trigger after the Wigan game. If they were going to change it, that was the time to do it. So it's kind of a double failure. Yeah. They should have sacked him then, and they have to sack him now. Particularly if we lose against Huddersfield, he has to go. And
right. Like I said, the gap now, 3 points now? It's slowly creeping away in it. I know it's only 3 points and it's a game, but we don't look like we're going to win any game at the minute.
We're running out of games. We're simply running out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's 10 without a win now in the league. 10 without.
Yeah, a win. And you look at the other teams who have been around us. They've potted their manager.
Cardiff have sacked theirs today, haven't they? I think Cardiff have sacked their manager today. Yeah, they are.
Right. So they're teams around us, and their board directors, whatever, are starting to act where I think we're just a bit, like I say, is it a failure from the board where they think, oh, not, if we sack him, that's us admitting we've got it wrong. But no, I would just like to say as well, fair play to fans who were there. They made a racket again, and fair play to them. It's a long way to go.
Yeah, I was going to go myself, but didn't, because I was looking after a dog. But I'm kind of glad the dog stopped me from going.
Yeah. So, but no, hopefully we'll next week's a big game, and we can hopefully get 3 points.
3 points.
It'll be nice to see 3 points.
Yeah. What was a win?
So, yeah. All right, then, mate.
Right. Cheers, Scott. Thanks for your call, mate.
Yeah, no worries. Ta-ra.
Right, thanks for Scott. Who have we got next? Someone I know. I will refine this process. Bringing people in. Could do with a production crew, couldn't I? Right, this will be a good one.
I'll do.
Brad, how you doing?
Not bad, yourself?
Too bad. Well, been better. Fuming, in fact. I'm fuming. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. To put it in light words, today just did it for me. I was watching the stream this afternoon, and I'm sitting there in the corner of my Skoda dealership, and I've got customers looking at me as if I'm an absolute weirdo because I'm trying to understand what Appleton's doing in a managerial position. You know, I feel really sorry for the lads more than anything. You know, because we watched the West Brom game. You know, and I managed to get down to Luton after my car broke down. I managed to get to the game on time, and watching the players, you know, play.
We were at that West Brom game. We were stood together for a bit, weren't we? It was turgid, that performance.
And I've got to be honest, West Brom were absolutely shite as well. And I honestly felt that game was a missed opportunity. I genuinely felt that we were going to beat them like a 2-1 scenario, but we were flat, you know, and we were questioning what they were doing. And West Brom was just going down the middle of us like a hot knife through butter, if I could put it through a simplest term, you know, and trying to go down the wings and trying to cross it in. We just couldn't do anything in that game. And it just seems to repeat process where we're looking at the lineups. And I know us, the podcast lads and all that, you know, the patrons and that are questioning the lineup. Today just summed it up for me because I honestly thought the Nottingham Forest game, when I looked at the lineup, I just thought, Mark Clapton thought, do you know what? I'm going to put these lads on there. I'm going to see what they're going to try and do. You know, will it create a spark? He just literally was probably having a pint in his hand or something, just throwing the sheets of paper up in the air. And the game that we had, what we watched, was absolutely amazing. You know, and I honestly thought that was something to start us off and go, do you know what? I'm going to work that lineup. I'm going to work these players because it worked. Okay, fair enough. The video, he had a knock in training the day before. I completely get that. But what about Bowler? You know, have the same mentality in that game, and having the change that we did, it just, I honestly felt when I looked at the lineup, I thought, we're going to lose this game here.
When you saw the lineup, did you really think that? Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw that lineup, I was like, nah, I don't, I'm not feeling confident now. I felt deflated, if that's the correct word to use.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to say, I watched most of the I had to turn it off. You know, when you got to the 50, you hit the nail on the head. I think it was the 58th minute. I literally said, he's not making a decision here. He's not changing the play. And it's becoming a common fault with his managerial skills, not the players, because, you know, why is us fans having to make a comment 60 minutes in thinking we're not clicking, we're starting to lose, you know, the big bad wolf, and they were trying to blow the house down, and we're just not blowing the house down, and we're just getting absolutely battered afterwards, and then we're conceding, and then the fans are going to get disgruntled as we have been because we can see it happening. And then Mark Clapton with his post interviews afterwards going, yeah, the lads really played really, really well, and, you know, I felt like we was in the game, and I was like, yeah, we've not been in the game. We was never in the game to begin with because we just struggled to score.
The only serious attempt we had on goal was Bowler's free kick, bit timid, too near the goalie, down the middle, and it was quite kind of easily collected. But as I think I said on the previous calls, we were just bypassing midfield, just hitting diagonals constantly to CJ Hamilton.
Yeah, to CJ Hamilton. You know, it's like when we was in the Luton game. You know, we had Thompson at the wing, and he was trying to do something. You know, but we would lose the ball straight away, and we wouldn't even have one player in the box. And then when you were going into a defensive mindset, when Luton had the ball, you had Jerry Yates literally in a defensive role, and then when we try and do the counter, Jerry's absolutely out of steam, and it just seems to be common practice. And I genuinely felt sorry for Jerry today. I honestly thought he earned his lineup call.
Yeah, it was the most ridiculous thing ever, not playing Jerry Yates in today's game. Your top scorer, he's come on against Forest, he's changed the game. Medine, obviously, I like Medine. He's got certain qualities. He shouldn't have played today. He should not have played. It should have been Jerry Yates up top. And the
100%.
It was 100% change in the positivity in our performance when Jerry came on, but it was too late. Why make why wait till they score to make the change? It should have been Yates and Lavery on a hell of a lot earlier, on 55, 60 minutes.
I might sound daft when I say this, but I think the changes should have came at half time.
Yeah.
Because we're meant, as a team, I know we are meant to play really, really well in the first half. We always do it. We always hold out to the 0-0 towards the end if we don't score a goal. And when we do score the goal, I do find that we try and keep hold of it until half time. But then when the second half comes, we just can't recreate what we provide in the first half. Whether that is the players running out of steam as a whole because they're putting a shift in the first half to try and make something out of it, or you're looking at the managerial effects that, is non-existent. Luca was making great points, so was Scott. There is no managerial change that caused the change of gameplay to then give us that winning game drive where we can actually get that goal. We were meant to have subs of youth that be able to have enough energy to be able to make an impact. Like Lavery, for example, I would always put Lavery on. If we're not making the play right, even if we keep Lavery off and put him on the bench and Jerry puts a shift in, surely there's got to be a signal for Michael to go, Jerry's put an absolute shift in. I can't keep using him. Because one, we're scared that he's going to get injured. Two, the other oppositions are going to score another goal and it's going to then create a massive problem for us. And three, if we do put Lavery on, we've got to set fresher legs to then finish off. Because Lavery can play a game of football if you use him in the right way. The same way as we use Gary McDean. I have to put it down to Michael Appleton. I really do. Because, when you turn around and said, before the World Cup, where we were on the fence, we're trying to give the guy time. And I was very much the one person, when Michael Appleton was announced, that I was one of those people to go, I don't know. I wasn't wowed by it. And then thinking about it, it made logical sense because who did we have? Ian Evans wasn't going to move anywhere at all. He's doing very well at Bolton, from what I hear. But I said, right, give him a chance. I was very optimistic what Simon was saying. Ben, Ben's a different kettle of fish, isn't he, really? Let's be honest. He's very cryptic in what he says. He's very questionable when he does make a statement on behalf of the club. I did say we'll give him a chance. And the start of the season, we did really, really well. We really, really did. But before the Notts Forest game, I was on the fence and I was very leaning to say, yeah, I want him gone. Today, it's done it to me again. It's the same problems that we're having addressed. And to me, I do honestly feel like he's lost the players. Because if it is true what, that's in the chat with the patrons, that obviously a particular somebody that is having a drink an hour after the game, I do think that's a really bad view on how the players are feeling.
What's that exactly? What is it?
So basically, they've got Medine having a drink with a bunch of lads, taking a photo of him having a drink.
I can see that now, yeah. That's not good.
Why is it? That's not good at all. That just puts the perception of the players again a bit pissed off with him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that now.
But yeah,
I think it's a common theme, Brad, that I'm picking up today is the fence sitters are now firmly on the Appleton outside. I'm one of them. I know Leanne is, you are, and multiple other people that I've been reading on Twitter. And for me, when you've lost the fan base, there's no way back for a manager, and they have to act. The board have to act, and they have to act fast.
But can we turn around and say we're trying to support the players? Yeah. We're not necessarily supporting Michael Appleton. We're supporting the players because we know that they're putting the shift in. The board. I've got a lot of questions to ask the board if I ever had the opportunity, because for me, the Josh Bowler funds, there's a lot of questions around that. We sold him. Was it right that we bought for 750,000?
Around that, apparently so, around that figure.
Around that figure, and I thought, okay.
Got a couple of million for Critchley as well, didn't we? A couple of million for Critchley.
Couple of mil for Critchley. Got a bit of money to pay for Wright. We had Josh Bowler money. We thought that was a stepping stone, to be able to get the youth in. But we also needed the experience as well. And I thought we could try and entice a few experienced players to help the youth crack on with it. I'm not finding that. And I think that just shows how lucky we were with Fritch, where he got a League One squad to play and use their strengths to his advantage and actually not dominate a league, but to dominate a game. And he did use the subs to his advantage. I just don't think that you're showing two different managers and two different calibers what could be provided, and I will take Ben Mansford responsible for this. Simon, he's probably in China just trying to get the money together to try and invest in the stadium. So I know that they're trying to build the temporary stand-up, which is great.
Well,
they're trying to do
Simon employs a football, quote, air quotes, expert because he doesn't have that expertise. He's paying someone with this so-called expertise to deal with everything that you've mentioned with. And he isn't, is he?
And Ben Mansford employs a mate.
Yeah, just gets his mates in. Gets his mate in, who gets his mates in from Lincoln. It's like that. That Wright played for Lincoln as well, didn't he? Bridcut, Lincoln.
Yeah,
it's like
he did.
Everything stems from Lincoln, and they're shy.
Which
so
is
why?
a really good thing.
Why?
I agree with you there, because Lincoln, when we played them against the playoffs, apart from the own goal that we did, I honestly felt that we were going to win that game. It was that just presence of, you can score a goal. Maybe it was a Holloway mentality. Yeah, you score a goal, we're going to score two. I honestly felt that we were going to have that sort of game. But when you look at Lincoln's season afterwards, it was just sheer carnage. After seeing the full of lone players, they couldn't really build on that. And I'm getting the same sort of resemblance with Blackpool.
Yeah. Rogers, Patino, Paveda, all lone players. Corbyn gone back. Fiorini, all lone players. It doesn't bode well for next season. You're right.
And I'm not a negative person. I will support the players. I will go to the games. I'll try and go as many as I can. As you well know. But the thing that's concerning me the most is we said in the pod at the start of the season as like a preview that we're going to be that yo-yo team. We're going to go in the Championship. We're going to go back into League One. My fear is we're going to go into League One and we're going to go against some teams that are really doing really well in League One. League One isn't as easy to get out of as people make out. And I don't think if we do go to League One, and at the moment I am swaying that we are going down. I know we're 4 points away, but Scott made it a great point. We can't seem to get a win from anywhere, even from when it's the big 6 pointers. And with Huddersfield being that decisive game of if we win that, we've got a chance. If we lose that game, I'm convinced myself we are going down.
Yeah.
And that scares me because I've never had that mindset. I always think, look, we've got 10 games to go. We can get some points on the board. I even said to myself, if we get a draw with the big teams and we keep drawing and we don't lose and we have the mentality of, look, boys, we ain't losing. Teams are not beating us. Let's go and get that win. I just don't see us getting the win because it's not down to the players. I do think we've got a good set of squad. We don't have an in-depth squad, and I do think we was injury prone. But I do think Appleton was making that excuse of everyone's sick, everyone's injured. Well, we've got
the squad now. We've got the squad now. We've got the players. There's absolutely no excuse. And like you said, Brad, it's a season-defining game against Huddersfield. We have to win that game, whether we've got Appleton in or not. But thanks for your call anyway, Brad. I'm going to bring Andy on. I'm going to have one more call and then I'm going to have Matty after that. Cheers, Brad. Cheers, mate. Mark GT, weren't even outthought today. I thought it was Scott comment. Weren't outthought, but acted by a tactical genius. Just chucked on some subs early enough to make a difference. It's kind of basically what happened. He just chucked subs on earlier, made a difference, and it was an academy player. that scored for Watford. They were on their arse. Half the squad was out injured, and we still couldn't get a result against them. Right, last caller of the day. This will be a good one.
Hello.
Right, Andy. Yeah, last on, best call. What have you got for us? Now you've been telling us how it is for quite some time.
Sorry, John. Repeat that.
Just saying, you've been telling us for quite some time what needs to happen. It hasn't happened, and I think the people who are on the fence are now firmly on your side of the fence. So, what have you got to add? This evening?
But he's lacking coaching ability and tactical nous. To me, it's just something that's just unbelievable. It's just literally is unbelievable. I mean, for the first and only time, I've heard people say, "Oh, he made the right subs last week against Forest, right? And we won 4-1 and things." But back to square one again today, right? No invention in his selection. Like, Lions looked good last week. Looked like it was answer. I think people were pretty much made their mind up that Connolly, if he was going to play, should play centre mid. We all felt the same. Give us a bit of stability until Tribal gets...
He's not a specialist. Connolly, he's not a specialist right back. You've got a specialist right back who's played well. Why drop him? Why?
We've been crying for a right back. How many times we started last season without a right back? And then we signed Gabriel, and then he gets injured and Connolly has to fill in again and we flip-flop between the two, but we always look better when Gabriel played, right? And then this season, we've covered the hole again. We started right back. Then we have to wait till January to get him. Then we get him. Then he plays against Forest, has fairly much a pretty good game, right? And you think, way, we've got a right back at last, right? So then, what's he do? Drop him. No, God, mate, I could write a book about how inept this guy is, right? But like, as I said before, I don't want to get sued again. Having had my one, so I'll have to wind my neck in a little bit. But he's not the man. Look, he moans about injuries all the time, right? Let's be fair to Critchley, right? Let's be fair to him. When we had injuries last season, he said, "I'm not going to hide behind the injuries," right? And he took the positives and he kept the fans bubbling on his side, right? And we all kept going on his side. And we had some woeful performances along the way, but we were all in it together. With this guy, every time we get a bit of optimism, he stamps all over it. And we get this ball called optimism, and he stands outside Bloomfield Road kicking it up and down until we as fans are bruised. So we make sure we don't ever feel that optimistic again. He's dreadful, and I honestly felt as though, I know we talked vaguely about Dobby before and things, but now this club needs a lift. It has to have a lift. And next week is so important that we as a fan base go into next week on a high, because that ground needs to be rocking next week. And there's not a chance in hell that's going to be rocking under Appleton, because he can't enthuse the whole fan base, and he never will, right? So we're going to be stuck in this thing where he almost gets fans arguing against each other. And we need someone who's going to drag this all together. And to be honest, on the face of it, Dobby looks, even for one game,
before they appoint someone else.
It'd give the whole it'd give that lift. It'd give the whole stadium and fan base that lift that you've just said, Andy. Getting Dobby.
And he'd come out and he'd get, you know, I don't mean the fist pump, but he'd come out and he'd say, right, come on, lads, all the fans, let's get together, team, squad, whatever, right, we're all in this together. He'd give them the stirring speech and he'd go and pick a side that it would go out and attack. And if we did things right, we'd give Huddersfield the first 10 minutes of their life that they wouldn't like to have again. Right? But you've got to make that. And unfortunately for Simon Sadler, I don't want to slag him or anything, right? But he's the owner, and he has to get his he has to grow a set tonight and understand where his fan base is.
He's got to. I think
he can't. We won't take it much longer, will we? And as you alluded to earlier on, if he leaves him in charge next week, right, it could get very, very, very nasty next week. Very nasty, and we all don't want what's sort of happened at Everton today, but I can understand their frustration. Their owners and board have sat there while they're doing, you know, authorising expenditure that they spend, right, on absolute rubbish. Right, we don't want Simon Sadler to spend absolute millions on rubbish. We just want people that we can get behind. We're a working class town. We know who we are. We're Blackpool, but we can cut it at this level. This squad of players can cut it at this level.
Yeah,
but they have to have the right leader.
I think, Andy, like I said before, I believe we've got the squad. I think we've got the squad of players in there now. We've got hopefully a few more injuries coming back. I think we've got the squad. Maybe a new centre half in there. Simon Sadler has to he has to read the room now. He has to read the room. Appleton is finished. He's done. He's a dead man walking. He's lost the fan base.
But
he's lost everyone.
I just do not get. I don't get the impression Johnny Wing wants to be here. I don't think he likes our fan base. I don't think he's got much.
Mannequin and Taylor's dummy. Who stands as your manager? I manage an under-10s team. I'm not stood there with my. I mean, it's you know, it doesn't mean a lot on under-10s game, but I'm animated throughout the game. I'm on there. I'm willing them on.
And I think the people take the mick out of Nathan Jones at Southampton, but you watched him the other day, and my God, you knew how much that win meant to them the other night, to him the other night. And I don't know if you saw it at the end of the game at Everton today, right? Because I just flash up on Sky Sports Saturday or whatever, right? At the end of the game, oh my God, right? It meant something to him. It meant the world to him that Southampton have just gone and won at Everton. But you can see him trying to influence the game, getting his players into the right shape. When someone's in the wrong position, he's there on the sideline trying to do something about it. Not, even if they're 5 yards out of position, he's trying to make sure he gets them into position, right? And then he'll deal with it at half time. You were in their wrong position there, blah, 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 right? But this guy doesn't seem to have anything. And it does not, the players don't look enthused, although they're a hard-working bunch, so they try and whatever, but they don't look organised.
What must Kenny Dougal be thinking, sat there, watching that midfield today? What must he be thinking? He was the man to get out there and sort that out.
Do you know what people forget? What our midfield looked like before Dougal came in. Mm. People forget what our midfield looked like before Dougal came in, right? And how he almost turned our season round by giving us a bit of solidity and a foot in the middle of the field, right? I'm not saying he's the most brilliant footballer, because, you know, like, he's not great with his man charging at his back when he's receiving possession under pressure and things, and Patino's much better at that than Dougal is. But Dougal will stick a foot in. He'll try. He'll try and influence the game. He'll stick a shoulder in. He'll try and break play up. We have to have a player that breaks play up. We have to have a player like that. And we haven't got one.
Maybe this
tribal... And we signed a German.
We've signed a German and left him on the bench.
I think he will be the man. It's just, and obviously,
it's not Patino or Carey in that role, is it? It's fucking stupid.
Kevin Stewart's probably the best in the Championship at that. Right? He's brilliant, but unfortunately, he'll probably never play football in the Championship again. You know, and unfortunately, he's the best. Right? Then Bridcut. Bolton guys tell me how brilliant he is. But he'll only play 10 games a season. And he's very good at that. Right? So we have to add someone. So we've acknowledged by signing Bridcut that we needed that sort of player.
Mark GT.
And you know why I thought from the pod the other week is that if he hasn't got it amongst the player that's already being that is that player like a Bridcut or Stewart, then you have to coach one to do it, and he can't coach one to do it because we're week in, week out without that player, and it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating because we are all seeing the same things.
Yeah.
And he's not.
Yeah.
We're all seeing the same things.
So, Andy, let's keep our fingers crossed that the board act decisively, they act with speed, because he's done.
Well, if they don't, and we lose next week, right? Forget whether he goes or he doesn't, right? They have to understand that we need an atmosphere to keep this group actually thrive off a really good atmosphere, right? And they achieve over and above their level, if you like. But to do that, you can't just turn a tap and Simon Sadler coming out and going, "Come on, lads, we need you all together today." That ain't going to achieve it. You have to have a man at the helm that the fans believe in. And Appleton, unfortunately, is not that man. And we will never achieve that atmosphere again while he is in charge.
Yeah, that's
So enough is enough. Give us a chance. The board, Simon Sadler, whoever it is who's got to make that decision, let's give this club a chance to survive. Right, let's make the change and make it now.
Couldn't have put that rallying cry better myself, Andy. So thanks for your call. I think we'll call it a day there. Cheers, Andy.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, thanks. Thanks everyone for joining us on this impromptu match reaction show, which had more of a listener interaction element, which I thought was pretty good. Right, I'm going to go and have my tea now. Thanks for joining us on the stream. We'll put this out on an audio pod pretty soon, and I'll be getting the rest of the panel together, and we'll do a more in-depth match reaction show. And fingers crossed, Appleton's gone by the end of today. And if not, we want answers, Simon. We want answers. Right, we'll see you